To me, I think what you've got to bear in mind is, the talent pool is quite difficult kind of around here to get good people. So from a business sort of perspective, we're really lucky to have the people we have. And we kind of treat them well. It's really convenient, the flexibility of working here. So there's not kind of one specific thing. There's just an overall, everything's just really, really good, really friendly. Like I say, the culture's amazing, and ultimately for me, it's just so helpful. If I've got a situation where I need to sort of duck out and take my child somewhere, it's absolutely no problem. You're trusted to kind of make that time up, and it's just you can't really sort of put a price on that.
Hello and welcome back to the Making It Happen podcast from Simms. And we've had a brilliant morning, been talking to lots of different people. And I've had some super lunch. I'm feeling slightly full up, but I'm very, very raring to go to talk to this next person. I've heard lots about them actually. Kind of people keep giving me snippets about people. It's very interesting, and I see if it's true or not. This is Alan. Hello, Alan.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad, thanks.
Good. And tell me about your role here at Simms, please.
I'm CFO at Simms. It's quite a varied role because I also look after the purchasing and sort of have a bit of customer interaction as well. So always an interesting day.
Always an interesting day. And how long have you been? How long have you been at Simms, Alan?
Good job I thought about this question earlier. 14 years. 14 years,
which is about, it seems like most people that have been with Simms have been for, honestly, like 11 years, 14 years, some 25 years. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think there's probably a core of us of about 4 or 5, kind of all a similar age, had families similar age and kind of grown up together. So, and that probably sort of helps define quite a lot of the culture of the business.
Okay, that's interesting. And are you from around these parts, Alan?
Not originally, no.
Or are you just putting on those dulcet tones?
No, I'm originally from just outside Liverpool.
Okay, and when did you come from Liverpool? Did you come from Liverpool to Simms, or what happened?
No, I made the mistake of after I finished university, I spent the summer in Ibiza.
Okay.
And met my now wife in Ibiza. So she's originally a Maidstone girl.
Yeah.
So obviously sort of followed her down here.
You met in Ibiza and followed her to Maidstone.
From Ibiza to Maidstone.
From Liverpool to Ibiza to Maidstone. That is pretty epic. Do most of your colleagues know the story? Is this news?
Probably at some stage. They've been told.
Is this a whole side of Alan, the CFO, that they don't really know?
I think sadly they probably do already know it.
Oh, okay, they do know. So what's the greatest thing about working at Simms?
Again, probably mentioned it earlier, the culture. The culture's really good.
Yeah.
There's a good core group of people who really enjoy the job and are passionate.
Yeah.
So I also think the overall management culture, it's a 30-year-old business.
Yeah.
And you don't survive 30 years in business by not having great culture, great morals, great values.
Yes.
And I think they've been shaped over the years, and it's just a really enjoyable company to work for.
Before you came to Simms, what were you doing? Did you?
Yes, I was
other than partying in Ibiza with your wife.
I've got to be quiet because they're downstairs. But I was an auditor.
You were an auditor.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds like a pretty intense job.
It's just mind-numbing.
No offense to the auditors that are downstairs now, but
yeah.
So how so it sounds like a lot of people have progressed through different job titles, or it sounds like everyone gets very involved in different departments and then moves into where they want to end up in Simms. Would that be right?
I think that's right. I think it's quite a unique business. It's quite a unique environment that we operate in.
Yeah.
So ultimately, sometimes it's very difficult for somebody to come in who's already worked in the sector and tries to sort of engage with Simms. I think it's much easier for us to kind of promote from within, which is what we've tended to do. I started as an accountant within Simms, and now worked my way up some of my colleagues are exactly the same. You know, started off as kind of account managers, and are now sort of, I think Kev's the same. He heads up the sales team now. So we've just found that actually, you know, working for Simms over those years has really helped sort of shape us.
Yeah. And do you think, I mean, it's so many people, like you say, they've worked here for a long time. Do you think that is just because of the culture and because there is that ability to move up and around within the business? Sounds like there's a lot of variety there. Claire mentioned not getting bored. You know, she's never been bored in 25 years, which says a lot for a company, doesn't it? I mean,
it does. I mean, the product itself isn't the most exciting. So
what?
Yeah, I mean, well, if that's your thing, that's your thing.
I mean, yeah, no, but it sounds like it's about the people.
The market dynamics are really interesting. You know, running the business is always a challenge. It's a good challenge. It's just a fun environment to be in, to be honest. So it doesn't necessarily feel like you're in work. And I think you have to sort of look at Andrew, who's obviously, I say, you know, ran the business for 30 years. Who's just, you know, the most caring, sort of, you know, has the great values. And kind of the best person you could wish to work for. And I think that has helped shape and flow everything down from the top.
Yeah, he has a lot of respect, and he comes across very kind and considerate of people around him, and I guess that rubs off when you're working for someone like that, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. You know, you learn to treat people with the values that kind of he's sort of he's put down to you and put to the whole company. Yeah.
So what other? So I mean, CFO, I mean, you're important. Money.
Well, people say I'm important because I pay the wages. So
well, there is that. I mean, that is important, isn't it? But no, what other strategies are you involved in within the business? Because you know, all jokes aside, that's a hugely important part of a business, and that you've been through some challenging times recently, I would say. How's that been for you with the pandemic and being part of the business and everything?
Well, I think, you know, we have strategies that we kind of look after each, but ultimately there's a leadership team that has, you know, sort of 3 or 4 members on it, and we kind of discuss all these things together. So
that's amazing.
The pandemic was you know, challenging, but ultimately we meet weekly, have a weekly call and just discuss all the developments, and ensure that no stone was left unturned. So, you know, if we need some support in getting product in, if we need some support, or Claire needs some support in actually what's she to do with the office, you know, in terms of, you know, do we let the warehouse work? Do we split the teams, mitigate the risk? So there's lots of things that we do, but we kind of do it as a team. So it's not a case of, you know, you look after this strategy and therefore you don't have any involvement. Yeah, everyone's involved in each other's strategy. But
that's
it's just
really good.
Somebody might own it. That's the only difference.
Okay, that makes sense. That's great. It does sound like so much like everyone just works really together and integrates together. What would you say? I mean, what's been one of the most memorable times? There's been a lot of memorable times for a lot of people, but there is one particular thing that keeps coming up. But I'm interested to hear what your most memorable time's been at Simms in your 14 years.
God, if lots of things have come up, I'm not quite sure. Hopefully it wasn't. Hopefully it wasn't a time that I can't actually remember. But anyway,
well, they weren't all about you, so you don't need to worry.
I'd say I would imagine that probably New York's come up a few times.
It has. You're right. Correct. You get 10 out of 10 for that one, Alan. Would that be one of your most memorable?
Yeah, it was brilliant. I mean, it was fantastic. But there's been, it's really hard to pin it down to one because there's been so many fantastic moments I've had with Simms. I was very fortunate enough to go to CES at Las Vegas.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
And that was pretty memorable. That was pretty good.
I mean, that sounds like a bit more Ibiza, Las Vegas, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
What was your favourite bit about Las Vegas then? Are you allowed to say that on camera?
I think. I think I can say it. Yeah, no. Me and a colleague, Mark, we went to go and watch DJ Tiesto at Hakkasan.
Wow!
So the image of him dancing away on the dance floor is something that will not be erased from my memory, sadly.
It's still there, isn't it? I can see it in your eyes. Just close your eyes and it's still there.
Yeah. If ever I'm feeling low, I can just picture that moment.
And what would you say as well? You've been sort of asking, certainly in the leadership team, what inspires you about other leaders? I mean, you've sort of mentioned Andrew and what inspires you about that, but also what do you think makes a good leader? You know, what do you think makes a good leader? What are those things that you like to see in leadership yourself?
I think the ability to listen is probably key, you know, and take on board different points. You know, you come in with to a situation with your kind of own way of thinking that you can handle it.
Yeah.
And ultimately, you know, you learn more by listening. And I think, you know, that's the key that, you know, Andrew's always got a kind of time for you, and we'll hear your point of view, and then we'll maybe agree or just suggest, you know, okay, have you thought about this?
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the key. If you're always willing to listen to your colleagues, you know, you can actually understand the point that's being made. Too often, people are very keen just to make their own point. So that's probably, you know.
So listening is key.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you think there's a moment or a time or a specific thing that's kind of been instrumental in the success of Simms?
I don't think there's been a moment or a time. I think ultimately it's a really resolute business. And look, this industry is challenging.
Yeah.
There's periods of kind of boom and bust. And I think it's just understanding the industry, having good people in place and making sure that, you know, whatever happens, you know, you sort of weather the storm. And, you know, it's not always going to be like that. So, you know, we might have 3 months where it's a really tough period of time. And ultimately, okay, we make sure, you know, everyone's looked after.
Yeah.
In that, you know, COVID was a prime example. I think Andrew effectively said, look, I don't care if we don't make any money this year. Everyone's safety is our priority. So ultimately, things like that get you through those tough moments, because everyone is accepting it's not going to be plain sailing. But, you know, in a few months' time, listen, you know, we know we've been in this business 30 years. We know that things will get back.
Yeah, that's quite something actually, isn't it? I think to have that support around each other, that's infectious.
Yeah.
So is that, and I mean, again, you know, it sounds like there's so many great things about working here, but, you know, if you could put your finger on one for you, what would it be?
Oh, God.
I know. I feel like I'm one of those interviewers. It's like, sell that pen to me. I could do that if you'd rather do that, but no. So give us one of your, you know, one of your most.
I mean, to me, I think what you've got to bear in mind is, you know, the talent pool is quite difficult kind of around here to get good people. So from a business sort of perspective, we're really lucky to have the people we have. And we kind of treat them well. You know, it's really convenient, the flexibility of working here. So there's not kind of one specific thing. There's just an overall, everything's just really, really good, really friendly. Like I say, the culture's amazing. And ultimately, for me, it's just so helpful. You know, if I've got a situation where I need to sort of duck out and take my child somewhere, you know, it's absolutely no problem. You're trusted to kind of make that time up, and it's just, yeah, you can't really sort of put a price on that.
I think that's really important. I think that's a great free way of thinking that more companies should take heed from, really, isn't it? What did you think when it was announced that you would be doing a podcast then, let alone you being on a podcast? What did you think?
Why me?
We'd like you to answer that question.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you've got much more interesting people to talk to than me.
No, not at all. But what did you think about that? The company doing this and everything, was it?
I think what I've seen over the past sort of year, certainly, is the company become more grown up in things like this. So, you know, 2-3 years ago, I'd have probably been staggered the fact that we were doing stuff like this.
Right.
But I think we've been transitioning over the past, let's say, 12 months. And we started producing some really good content. So hopefully it's just good, interesting content that people actually like.
Yeah. Do you have any podcasts that you listen to at all? Is there anything you're...
Yeah, there's one or two. I mean, they're sadly, they're mainly football related. But as I say, we're not talking about football.
We're not talking about football. We're not talking about Everton. We're not talking about football. No. Sorry. Yeah. but you've got 3 kids, right? Is that right? Are they podcast ears savvy, or are they little? They're little. They're little. Okay.
Yeah, they're very Nintendo Switch savvy.
Are they?
Yeah. So that's about it at the moment.
That's good. But certainly what would you like to see on the Simms? You know, what would you like to see coming up over the coming months?
I just think just for us to be able to reflect who we are, you know, for people to kind of understand a little bit about what our values are.
Yeah.
Because as I say, we really believe in our values.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably what I'd like the most.
Brilliant. And you'll be hosting all of these episodes yourself, I hear, Alan.
Well, I mean, why not?
Okay. Absolutely. There you go. You heard it here first. Alan will be the new host of the podcast.
Excellent.
Okay, no. Well, look, it's very good to talk to you on this Making It Happen, Meet the Team today. It's been so much fun. And, meeting the leadership, you guys are great. So well done to you guys. And lovely to talk to you. And thanks for coming and sitting on this lovely sofa with me today, Alan.
Brilliant. I've escaped.
Yeah, you can go now. You can go and finish off your pizza. It's fine.
Oh, no, yes.
Okay, well,
Cheers.
It's great to talk to you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alan.